Big news day. The terror suspects arrested in Texas, appearing in a Houston court in the past hour. Now, he's accused of providing material support to ISIS. The other suspect rounded up in Sacramento, accused of traveling to Syria to fight alongside terrorist organizations and lying to investigators about it. Now, he appears before the judge later today. Both suspects are in the U.S. as refugees. All this as Germany is rocked by what happened in the picturesque city of Cologne on New Year's Eve. Reports of police overwhelmed by mobs of migrant men and more than 100 women saying that they were sexually assaulted. At least 2 rapes reported. Cologne's police chief, we learned a short while ago, is reportedly stepping down over his handling of the situation. But it's not just Cologne. Several cities in Germany reporting similar incidents, and similar reports surfacing in Switzerland and in Finland. This is a huge story, Tucker Carlson, that has not gotten enough attention all week long, especially here in the United States, as we are having our own debate over how many refugees to take. And you've heard President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and others wanting as many as 60,000, the overwhelming majority Muslim men.
This is the kind of story that's been ignored by and large by the mainstream press, but it is being emailed between people frantically because the average person understands exactly the message, which is that immigrants bring their countries with them. They bring their culture, their language, their politics, their customs, and people who come from prosperous, peaceful, industrious countries tend to be that way, and people who don't, tend to bring those values too. So this is inevitable when you have this scale of immigration from countries in which women are not allowed to walk freely wearing revealing clothes in the public square. The most interesting fact of this is the point that the European left, as the left in America is also doing, is making apologies for this, is refusing to say the obvious, when this is a direct threat to their values. Again, to the ability of women to walk unaccompanied, uncovered in the public square. This is an attack on that freedom, and they don't seem to recognize it.
Harris, why are they ignoring this story? I mean, Tucker mentions it's not gotten a lot of coverage, and I think 2 things. One, President Obama and the left does not want to look like hypocrites or like they're making the wrong decision with these refugees. And also, doesn't this story help Donald Trump?
Well, it may help in terms of his messaging and how he can then tout, I was right, I told you so, so on and so forth. And again, can take credit for putting out a very important issue into the nomenclature for us. I mean, now we can say, and I'm going to quote local authorities in Cologne, women were having to walk an inebriated gauntlet of dangerous men. Imagine what that is like on a street corner. You can't get home because these guys are massing. But this is complicated because weren't we listening to Angela Merkel's phone not too long ago, or we were spying on her? I don't know that you can necessarily turn around and then talk with a friend you've been listening to and spying on and then legislate in some way. I mean, we need their help on this, and they need our help on this, because we are facing some of the same problems. We don't want to have to learn the lesson that they're learning right now. I wonder what those conversations are like between President Obama and Angela Merkel.
You know who's not ignoring this are the states that are being told that they need to take in more of these refugees. In Texas, for example, the Attorney General, the governor have spoken already on this. The Attorney General there saying that this is a troubling revelation, especially, he points out, in light of the president's insistence on placing further refugees in my state. He says he's going to continue to press for the rights and the protection of the Texas people. So, Andrea, these states have an obligation to protect their citizens, to protect their people, and as they continue to watch these stories, they have to do more.
And it's more than just cost, too. I mean, you look at the refugees that we've allowed in so far, these 2 Iraqi refugees that were arrested today plotting attacks on the homeland. Refugees are allowed to get benefits, they're allowed to take advantage of our system. But when you think about what the administration has said, and the left has said, and even some on the right, Melissa, they share our values. Not all immigrants share our values. The values of equality for women. Women should be protected. And this is a time when you see the administration pushing police forces. I mean, you see there's multiple debates happening, and all of these refugees in the United States would drastically change the culture and I think endanger women.
What I think is really scary about this story when you look at this is that you don't normally think about German law enforcement as being soft, right? I mean, that's not something that comes to mind. You looked at 90 criminal complaints in Cologne, 50 criminal complaints in Hamburg. This seems like a society that you would think could handle being overwhelmed on New Year's Eve by people who are trying to be violent. I mean, really, to me, this contributes to this idea that you're not safe anywhere right now. I mean, it's really frightening.
But we have something in
they're
common with
outnumbered.
the Germans. We are passive and guilt-ridden as they they are. The cops stood by in Cologne as women were raped. They didn't intervene, just as our police stood by in Baltimore and Ferguson as stores were burned, as people were hurt, and didn't do anything because they didn't feel like they had the moral authority to do it. That's scary. That's when civilization ends, when you reach that point.
You know, can I just say one positive thing from all of this, though, with the men that they picked up in Houston, Texas, that one man, the Iraqi refugee that they picked up, and then these 2 other suspects in California. No one makes up lost ground like America, though. We got some suspects in all of this. And in fact, the one guy who had lied about international terrorism, one of the guys in California, we were watching his social media postings. So, I mean, I know it's a lot of ground to make up, but we are moving in the right direction.
As somebody who lived in France, and was assaulted in this manner 15 years ago, I can tell you, it's bad. It was bad then, it's worse, and we have to wake up because it will come here.
God bless, Andrea.